fostering entrepreneurship amongst women. And joining us in the panel discussion are Miss Anu Chadha, founder and chief executive officer of 3A Clothing Company from India. Miss Camille R. Escudero, the president and business professional women of Makati, Philippines. And Yang Berbahagia Dr. Soraya Ismail, the managing director of Vitality Busan Berhad, Malaysia. And also would like to introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to Yang Berbahagia Dato Dr. Norraesah Mohamad, chairman of WIEF Business Women Network and chairman of MyEG Services Berhad, Malaysia, who will be the session moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly take your seat. And we are about to begin the panel discussion, which will be focusing on fostering entrepreneurship amongst women. Dengan segala hormatnya dipersilakan, Yang Berbahagia Dato.
Thank you very much. Now, I would like to have everybody seated on, obviously on the chairs.
Can't hear you. Can't hear.
Okay. I was praying hard just now after the session with Kamaru that more men would remain behind. Obviously, there are only a few courageous ones. Now, let me tell you, we have three wonderful, great speakers with experience that you will not believe what they have done. So the man that left this room, you don't know what you're losing. Really? Okay. Now, with us are three very successful ladies, really successful, okay? One is from India, Anu. You open up the profile that we gave you. I don't want to talk too much about them because I think you have read all about them. One is really a fashion lady who made it big with Walmart. You all know Walmart, right? Yes, Yang Mohamad Menteri, Minister, thank you very much for being here with us. You should have brought all your male officers and insist that they come and sit with us, okay? Then they will understand more about women and women empowerment. Okay, second speaker is, you won't believe what this lady is doing unless you have read the profile that we have submitted to you. You have taken a lot of her products. I did too, and I never knew that the owner is a lady. Girls, have you heard? Boys as well. Have you heard about Boost juice bars? The person behind it is this lady there, in the center there, smiling at you, happy. And our lady right at the extreme left of me is from the Philippines. She's dynamic in the sense that she had one session this morning, and she has another one with us today. That means they're very laku lah. Okay, I better start and get them to talk before I start coughing. Year after year, we hear people talking about women empowerment and how to foster entrepreneurship amongst women. So much has been said. Contribution of women to the society, to the economy, and everything that you need to know about it. But today with us are three women who will prove the fact that their contribution to society, to the economy, to GDP growth are real. It's not imagination, it's not a dream. So, oh dear, that's because I've been working very hard for WIEF. Okay, we'll start off with each one of them giving, that's my daughter. If she doesn't do what she is just doing now, my God, no peace for the next 1 month. Thank you. Now, I'm giving 5 minutes to each one of them to introduce not just themselves, but how they came to be what they are now, how they achieved their success, and very much more than that is to inspire us, to believe in ourselves, because these women believe in themselves, and everything starts with you believing in yourself. So, men, if there are more of you in this room, it goes to show that you're not just courageous, but you're a sensible man. Because, you know, women are assets. I mean, no doubt about that. We are the human capital. Oh, Tan Sri Gani is here to support us all. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, CEO of the biggest conglomerate in Malaysia. How many women do you have in your organization? Top notch. Only one? Oh my God. Oh no, I don't see his fingers. Now, can I call upon Anu, this successful, fashionable woman from India, who has Walmart as her godfather initially. Now she is her own godfather, to please tell us how you arrived to become a very successful entrepreneur.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. Indeed, a privilege. My name is Anu Chadha, and I come from Delhi, from India, and I run a fashion company which makes clothing and accessories. A lot of these hijabs which I see, I'm so enticed by when I see all these beautiful women wearing all these, and this is something which I do, which we call normally scarves, and sell to European companies, also to Walmart. There's a paradigm shift in the demographics of the Indian economy. In this economic wave, we can see that there's a titanic surge of women who have entered the economic space and want to be entrepreneurs. Before we talk about entrepreneurship, I would like to also talk about empowerment, because without an empowered woman, there cannot be a successful entrepreneur. We all at some points in our life have thought or talked to each other about who is an empowered woman. I think a woman who gives flight to her dreams, who is confident, who has self-pride, is an empowered woman. My journey from the time I started working to the point where I've reached today. Let's say 5 years ago, I didn't want to share it because I used to think of it as a sign of weakness. But today, I'm very happy to share about it because my thought has changed. I feel that when I talk about my journey, there are a lot there who think they might not be able to do it, but they can. You all have heard or might have heard of this bird which is called the phoenix. It lives for 100 years and then it dies and rises from its own ashes. It's a sign of the undying spirit. And I feel when I read about this story, I started identifying with it because I went through a very difficult time. I had an early marriage, I had 2 small children, and then 12 years of a very troublesome, difficult phase of my marriage. Since I married very early, so I didn't have a great professional degree. I was a normal graduate. So I did not come out of that marriage thinking that, oh, I'm not so educated. Nobody will hire me. What will I do? How will my children grow up? How will they study? So with this undying spirit of the phoenix bird, finally, after many, many years, I did get out of that. And once I got out of it, I realized that I had wings. I could fly. My parents were a very strong backing with me. I would say at that point of time, there was no such concept of a startup, of entrepreneurship, of being seeded, of being incubated, of having a mentor. So I really didn't know anything. I was lost. But all I remember is my mother feeding me well and telling me that we take care of the children, just go spread your wings. And friends, I did just that. I started working for somebody. I started working for somebody, and then gradually, I realized that my children, both my girls, they needed to be empowered. What do I do? Do I just put them in a normal school and just wait for them to grow up? Or should I, my dreams which I had for myself and for them, or should I go and have the wind under my wings and do something about it? Well, I thought the latter was the best thing. It's better to do something than just dream. So I started, I remember I had gone to Norway during that time from the company I was working with. And I wasn't really happy working there. I worked there for many years because they were not paying me enough, and that was not the way I could survive and make my children do what I dreamt of. So I was already in talk with the owner of the company, and then I kind of told him that in 2 months I would be leaving. So it was all decided. And then when I was in Norway, I was standing in one of the stores, and I see this very beautiful product there, and I think to myself, oh, this is something which I can do. And that's from where my story started. I called up that company from there, right standing in their showroom, and I said, I want to meet you, and I want to manufacture for you. Now, as luck would have it, they invited me over, and the rest was history, because that was the day I realized that success needs a purpose. And the purpose was so important in my life that I just had to find innovative ways of starting my entrepreneurship journey. And that's how I started. I think I could be taking more than the 5 minutes. I don't want to cut short this panel. So do we have more time, or we move?
I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm very generous.
Very generous minute. So from there, the entrepreneurship went on further, and then the next phase was that I was chosen by Walmart as the 32 women-owned companies from India. And I pitched with them, and they decided to take me under their wings. And today, I'm a very happy supplier to Walmart India. Yes. So it's important to dream, and then just go ahead, find innovative ways, and we come back again.
She turns her dream into something positive, not a nightmare. So we are very proud for her. Now, the second lady there, in the center there, that is looking very suntanned and, really nice, you'll be surprised. Soraya, let me talk this part about you, because you can praise yourself. I can. She had a PhD in chemical engineering from Imperial College. And to the dismay of her parents, who actually discouraged her from moving out from a very comfortable, good-paying job to start this business of juices and smoothies. And you see, she is a contrast to Steve Wozniak, where their parents say, do whatever you like, but her parents say, don't do it. And yet she's the girl. So, she's stubborn, she believes in herself, she follows her dream again. But I think the most important thing is she has that vision that she can actually succeed selling juices and smoothies. So, she has 100 stores across Malaysia. 100, okay, 100. Malaysia, Singapore, and Brunei. She employs 800 people selling 125,000 drinks per week. Okay, what can we say to that but a big applause? Tip, tip, tip is not good enough. Okay, so Soraya, Dr. Soraya, we now give the floor to you to explain the rest of the things that, make you a very successful franchisor, you call it franchisor, of juice and smoothies from Australia.
Thank you very much. You're being very generous here. I thought I'd share. My mother actually said to me, "Apa, gila ke?" Those were her actual words. I'd just like to spend the first 5 minutes just talking about, you know, my story of the transition from working in the corporate world into being an entrepreneur. Now, and you know, some of the challenges that we came up with. Now, we always have challenges in everything we do, and you know, I believe it's just kind of, you need some tenacity to kind of resolve the challenges as they come up with you and resolve them accordingly. You know, now 8 years on, after running my business, we still have challenges, and unfortunately, they're just bigger, more complicated, and have more impact and everything. So before I started Boost Juice, I was basically working for a global management consulting firm for 10 years. And in that time, I had a lot of insights working for big blue chip corporations. And I always thought to myself, it would be so nice to take the best bits out of all of these corporations that I was privileged to work at that time and build something of my own. You know, and that was always what I always wanted to do. I was actually on a project in Melbourne for a couple of years, back in 2005, and that was when I first saw Boost Juice. And I was just an avid customer, right? I love the product, I love what it sells, I love this ethos. And at that point in time, I just knew that if I was going to do anything, this was an opportunity that I could actually take up, because it was something I liked and I believed in. At that time as well, I could also see that there was massive opportunity to bring such a product into Malaysia. At that time, I hadn't actually been living in Malaysia for more than 20 years, but obviously I go back and visit all the time. And you could just see that the health awareness was growing. People were more interested in what they were putting into their bodies and into going to gyms. And so I just knew that the timing was absolutely right. And there was just nothing in the fast food arena that was remotely healthy at that time. So at that time, it was also a very transitional stage in my life. Having worked for another company for 10 years and been married for a couple of years as well, you know, we were starting to think about having children, and it was just like, do we want to continue on this corporate thing, or do we want to kind of do something that's for ourselves and go back to Malaysia and build something there? So it was that pivotal point, and in the end, we just said, right, we just have to take the challenge, and we have to just jump ship and do it all in. And so that's what we did. Thinking back now, I probably was a little bit crazy and probably a little bit naive, to be honest. But you know, it was always a good thing. I always believed that I could make it happen. It was never going to be a failure. So I went from managing big projects with big budgets to being in my spare room, breastfeeding, at the same time of doing this. And it was a difficult transition, you know, I have to be honest. I had lots of people doing stuff for me before, and now it was just HR department, yep, me. Operations, yep, me. You know, it was just, everything was just kind of me, because that was just the way it is when you have a startup. But all the skills that I learned when I was working for corporations all came into play here. You know, we had a very clear business plan. I'm very detail-orientated. I mean, I'm a chemical engineer, really. So everything I do is run by spreadsheets, and the numbers will tell you the story. You know, so we always have a plan, and you adjust your plan accordingly. But, you know, that was what we kind of ran by. The other thing as well is that we always had the vision. You know, I was never about just running one or two or a handful of juice stores. It was about building a big company. So even when I only had one outlet, because that's what we did, I had a crawl, walk, run kind of approach. So we just opened one outlet, and that's all we did for 6 months. But when we were setting up all our systems and our processes, you know, we were always setting them up for the growth, so that we just had a good foundation to begin with, so that when I was further down the line, I didn't have to go back and revisit everything from scratch. So for example, when we were meeting suppliers, like fruit suppliers or distribution suppliers, even with that one store, you know, I talked about the growth and where we were going, and and yes, maybe it was a little bit opportunistic, but it worked. So I made sure that we weren't just talking about just the quality and the pricing. We were also talking about, can you come on board with me as a partner to help me with this growth? I don't want you to just supply one store. I want you to be able to supply multiple stores across the region. And so, all that kind of thinking that was done all the way up front 8 years ago really helped us when we are today. Of course, the other thing here is obviously you kind of need, you need the support. And I could not have done this without a support structure. And for me, that support structure was my parents. So even though she thought I was mad, I had a newborn baby, so she helped out with me and that's really important, even up to today, that I have family, and now that we've moved on, paid help as well, so that when I am working and I'm sitting here in Kuching, I know that everything that's happening in the household is working smoothly. I know that my children, because I now have 2 children, I know that they are safe. And I think for women in particular, having that support network is extremely important for you to be able to move forward.
Okay, can we stop there? We'll make her talk more later with all the questions that will be coming from you, not me, you. You're going to do the work. Now, from glamorous clothes, women's clothes, to something that, put in additional calories to you, but surprisingly, she remains very slim. When she said about healthcare, I have questions later. Health awareness, eating smoothies and juices? Okay, never mind. Now, our next speaker, Camille, as I was saying, from ice cream to glamorous clothes, to now what she called as intimate apparel. Girls, I can see the eyes of the guys lighting up. She is, however, she's the president of the Business and Professional Women Republic of the Philippines. She leads the information management, process and compliance, and sustainability for L Intimates. So again, we have the word intimate here. So we will let Camille explain to her what exactly is she doing and what these intimate apparels are and how these very intimate apparels give huge success to her. Camille?
Thank you, Dr. Norraesah. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, where do I start? It's not a glamorous career, to be honest. I am a typical Asian child who was groomed by her mother to become a doctor. And on my 3rd year of pre-med, I got out of school, I dropped out, and I switched to IT. So my background really is software engineering. I'm a computer geek. So fast forward to almost 20 years now, I am in an export manufacturing company of women's intimate apparel. I lead a women's business organization and my alumni network. I wish I could say that there is, one thing that was solely responsible for all of this, but truthfully, it's a combination of many things. And there are 3 in particular that propelled me to where I am today. Number 1 I'd like to highlight is mentorship. This was also mentioned by Anu earlier. You need a perfect combination of cross-generational mentorship. There's a traditional mentorship where a more experienced entrepreneur passes on her skills to a younger person. So let's take, for example, my mother, who has over 40 years of experience in export manufacturing, has shared with me the ins and outs of our business. So I've learned, the whole production process from sourcing, product development, uh, production, sewing, to packing and shipping. I've learned how to look at Pantone colors and match colors, how to feel textile. I think the only thing I didn't sew skillfully on is how to sew underwear. But the technical stuff I mastered. Now, the woman who brought me into the gender space, she really, exposed me to international conferences. She showed me the plight of indigenous women and allowed me to seek my own empowerment. Then there's also reverse mentorship where, a more senior person takes advantage of new age ideas of younger people. So what I do is I get exposed to the startup community. I join workshops, I attend networking meetings. I'm there because I wanna be exposed to the vibrancy and the dynamics of the startup community. You cannot simply seek mentorship from more senior people because that pool is shrinking. We need to become more actively open in understanding, the younger generation's struggles and challenges, and look at their opportunities and use that into developing our own empowerment and development. Number 2, business organization. Be part of one, a strong one, whether it's a women's organization or a mixed gender organization, invest in becoming a member of a business organization. In an economy where MSMEs, which comprise over 90% of economic activity, are mostly women-owned, many of these businesses remain small. Many operate with limited resources. There is limited room for growth. There are challenges like lack of talent, high turnover, lack of access to finance. These are all necessary to develop products and services that change along with market needs. This is where business organizations like the Business and Professional Women, or BPW, exist. And its international network, we are present in over 100 countries, allow for cross-border relations. And this is vital for businesses. It's especially more beneficial for us here with the implementation of the ASEAN Economic Community. We must be equipped to run sustainable business operations, become innovative, and become globally competitive. So BPW can give you the connection you need, when you want to get out of your local presence and in the region. Number 3, which is really very helpful to me as a growing entrepreneur, is peer support. This is another type of mentorship. Who here knows about Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In? Perfect. So one of the signature programs of the Lean In Foundation is the Lean In Circle, where a group of 8 to 12 women come together and they leverage the power of peer support. In my circle, we meet every 4th Wednesday of the month. So actually, tonight we have a meeting and I'm missing an exercise on finding purpose. Currently, the circle's goals, you come together and you develop goals together. So in my circle, our goal is 1, to find our purpose, 2, to get things done, and 3, to find balance between work life and home life.
Okay, Camille, can we stop there?
Thank you.
I don't have a good watch. I can't keep time. Okay, anyway, I was struck, Anu, by what you said, that success must have a purpose. Now that you have found success, what now is your purpose? And how do you help foster entrepreneurships amongst the women? Or you're just happy with your success and, you know, the others, I did it on my own. You have to find ways of achieving success yourself too.
You know, I just feel I'm so fortunate because by this time, my journey has been long. I could have been an entrepreneur in my 30s, but I became one in my mid-40s. I'm not letting out my age, but but by now, you know, my kids, my girls are grown up. They are both educated, highly educated, I would say, and they are both doing their own thing. And I'm sitting on a business where I have a factory which has 4 floors, and we are producing and all of that. So now, the other day I was talking to my daughter and I said, you know, now it's not about money. So she says, my mother said, she said, maybe now you should just enjoy, go travel, go see the world, do your thing. Why do you want to just do the same thing? I said, because for me, work has become a hobby. Now it's not a need, it's become pleasure. And I say that very happily, and I feel very, very fortunate and full of gratitude for that. So now what I've started doing is that I've started looking at my business from the standpoint of social impact. We are doing 3 things currently in the year 2016. We did 3 new things in our company. And these were all about fostering entrepreneurship. Being a Walmart supplier, my work is on. Let's say the train is well-wheeled, so it's going its way. But what I do with my energy and experience is, the first thing which I've done is that I incubated a person from the textile industry. She didn't want to do my business, but she wanted to do home textile. So I told her, okay, I'll incubate you. She says, I don't have money, I have a very small, very small way to work, so can you help me? So I was like, okay. So I gave her space in the factory, I gave her the whole ecosystem. She just paid for her, the salary of the tailor. I gave the machinery, I gave everything. And we incubated her, and happy to say that just 3 months back, she has got an investor who invested $100,000 in her company. So I felt that was wonderful, because when she came and told me that she's finally found an investor, and she was, thanking me for the space and everything and the ecosystem.
You don't have, sorry, Anu, do you have no fear at all inside you that she will be competing you out of Walmart?
Sorry, again?
Do you have, now that you have taught her all the talent, she's obviously talented as well, now that she is successful in what you have taught her to be, do you have any beat, an iota of fear that she will beat you to the Walmart market?
For every parent, it's a pleasure to see their children go ahead,
Okay,
it's a universal language. It's a universal language.
Yeah, that means it's good. That means you have a good heart, right?
Yes, yes,
Now,
yes.
Dr. Soraya, for 6 months you were stuck with just one outlet, you said. And just before we came on the stage, you said that you have huge problem to find funding. Now, with these 2 things happening to you, do you at any point regretted doing what you did and making the decision of leaving Accenture and those big corporations that you left behind, and then that you are convinced somehow that I will still continue, go ahead, and I'm going to succeed?
No, the short answer to that is no, not really. Yes, we did have struggles with getting funding at the beginning. As you know, it's fairly regulated, and until you've got a proven business concept and 3 years worth of audited accounts, you can't actually get a loan from anyone, which really doesn't help us at a time when you actually need the money, unfortunately. But no, the only thing that stopped us from doing was to go faster. So we had money to start up with, And we knew what that was. And basically, I was very vigilant on cash flow. You know, we just had one store for 6 months because effectively my company grew organically. You know, we believed in building a sustainable business. I was not going to be one of these flash in a pan brands that come tomorrow, there's 100 stores, and 3 years later, I'm back down to 10 stores. No, my strategy was very different. It was about building a sustainable business. So if it took me one store for 6 months before I could afford to build another store, then so be it. And we just managed the cash flow very tightly and ensured that every single store was cash flow positive. And if it wasn't cash flow positive, we would work at it and and resolve the issues until it was cash flow positive. So no regrets. It just made us stronger, I think.
Oh, well done. Camille, do you ever find any kind of obstruction in your path towards achieving your success? And if there is, what is that single overriding factor that could be a discouragement to you that you wave aside?
That's a tough question. I believe that the only barriers I have are the barriers I impose on myself. I like to say that I don't see a glass ceiling, but sometimes it's a fear of failure that stops me from doing anything. An example is, for a year now, I have this business idea and I haven't done anything. In the beginning of the year, I went through this workshop where you validate this idea, and I went through the process. So that was in February, and now it's already November. I haven't taken the next steps to do anything for it. But, you know, realizing it before coming here, I started plotting a business plan canvas, because I said, you know, I've had this idea for so long, I should do something about it. And I validated the idea. If I don't do anything, I'm going to lose the opportunity. So it's always a self-imposed barrier that stops a lot of women from doing what they want.
Yeah. Okay, I have had my rounds of questions. We still have some time for Q&A. I'm sure you all have lots of questions to pose to our great three ladies here. Can we start right away? Give your name and no long, winding comments, but questions.
Okay, Dato, thank you. I'm Azlina Ahmad from automotive industry. Okay, just a question to three panels. How does your husband support you? I mean, how do they feel? Hey, women as managing director, president, and founder and CEO. I mean, are they with you, or can you please answer? Thank you.
Anyone? Okay.
I'll go first because it's a very easy answer for me. So I actually met my now husband on the very first day I started working for my very first graduate job, basically. So, you know, I never worked with him whilst I was at that company. But, you know, that was where I met him. So he kind of knew what kind of person I was already. I was, you know, somebody who was ambitious, career-driven, and so on and so forth. And for me as well, my husband actually now works with me. We actually work alongside. We run the business together. It's too big for one person. Actually, it's too big even just for the two of us. You know, we need more people. That's where we are today in our business, trying to get more people on board to bring us faster. And I think it is important to have that support, whichever way it may be. I wouldn't necessarily say it's always healthy working with your husband. You know, we try not to kill ourselves on a regular basis. But, you know, we learn how to work with each other and give each other very clear, at work, we have very clear responsibilities for different parts of the business, and that person has the last say.
When your child gets sick, who sends to the who stops to work and then send their daughter or son to the hospital? Still the mom?
I don't have a husband, but I have an opinion on this. This is why we need men in forums like this, because if it's all women, we're all preaching to the choir. My opinion here is that if you have a husband or a partner, that person should recognize that there is equal share in the responsibility at home. There is still societal pressure for women to be the primary caregiver and, homemaker. But if your partner feels that he needs to step up and have an equal share in parenting and taking care of the home, then I think it will ease up some pressure for us women. And we won't have to make a choice between, taking that job or taking care of our children. So the men who are here, I hope, you're here because you believe in this and, be champions for us. The women can't be the ones shouting this. We need the men to also lift us up. So thank you for those who are here.
Theoretically, that's what it should be, right? Theoretically, okay. I know.
Yeah, just like Camille said. So I've been a single parent for many, many years, like I just told you. I just feel that, we are the product and victim of our own environment. I also feel that since we are here on this platform, this beautiful, lovely platform discussing about fostering entrepreneurship, I just feel that, when you have your little children, little boys and girls, we should start telling them that it's talking about empowerment, talking about that your sister and you are the same, and both of you can grow up and do the same thing, or, be empowered and be entrepreneurs. So it's important to start this language right in the home and have a common platform for both genders. Yeah. Yes.
I think first and foremost, we have to understand the meaning of the word parent. Parent does not consist of men or a woman. It consists of mother and father jointly. So responsibility of looking after the children must be both mother and daddy. And my first question is, has such question ever been posed to the man, the successful man? How does your wife take to your success? Never, right? What makes you think that a successful woman could not provide the same thing to the husband and do the shopping as well? It could be. So I think Anu said that we are victim of our own environment, but we can change that environment. We cannot allow ourselves to be victim to anything at all. But the first thing is, of course, confidence in ourselves and hard work. No shortcut to anything. We must not allow ourselves to even be considered as victim. Never. So, other questions? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sabrina. I am one of the product of WIEF Women Entrepreneur. I would like to I would like to ask this question of sustainability. Success certain time come pretty short. So could you share with all the team here, how could we sustain our success? Thank you.
Very good question, Sabrina. Alumni of WIF, of course. Okay. Yes, Dr. Soraya, would you like to take from there?
Sorry,
How
was sustainable? How do you sustain success?
How you sustain your success, and not come to a point of complacency?
We see it all over the place, right? There's different sort of businesses all around the world, and you can see the businesses that basically become complacent are the ones that ultimately fail because businesses are living organizations. You can't stand still. You have to keep moving forwards. And I think success is different things to different people, right? Success is not necessarily just your bottom line. I think there was another panel discussion earlier that talked about that. Success can also be about the development of the company that you are growing. And for us, that's, for me, where I am now, at 8 years on, that is what we're focusing on. Yes, of course, the bottom line, it always needs to be there, but the success for us now is actually how do we get our organization and all of our employees kind of on this journey, getting to that next level. How do we motivate and incentivize all of our employees? And it's not all about money. It's about, you know, career development. It's about opportunities. You know, we have staff sometimes who want to leave us because they want to do other things. I never ever have a problem with that. But what we always do is we try to listen to them, to understand why they're leaving and whether we can change anything within ourselves to give them the opportunity to get there within our organization, for example.
Yeah. I know you have something to add.
I totally agree with Soraya, because success, what's the definition? Is it that you have enough to eat or you have a beautiful home? There's no definition, you know. It's the definition is as wide, as expanded as your thought. So I always say that, you know, learning is a constant process. You have to keep innovating in your businesses, because when you reach a particular level, then you have to just go a step further, raise the bar, you know, so that's the way to keep on going on the path. The 3 learnings which I always say to my children also and to people when they talk to me is, 1, life is a learning process. It's a lifelong learning, because there's never a point where you can say, oh, I've done it all. It's not like that. So it's a lifelong learning. And second very important thing is that you have to realize that when you're in a position of power in your life, you have an obligation. At that point of time, you're obligated to help others. So I would say for that, if you're successful, that means you're in a position of power. Go, help others, and keep on raising the bar for yourself.
Well, that's a very, very good point that you have raised. Being generous, contributing back to society, creating more entrepreneurs as a result of your success. I think that is success, creating more entrepreneurs because you have become successful yourself. Camille, what is your take on this?
Similar to what Anu said, that success is very subjective. But what I would like to say is, in anything that you do, always look at, you know, the people around you and start developing the next generation of movers and shakers. You know, don't look at, you know, what you've done, but look at what other people can do. Because in the fulfillment and empowerment that you experience from, you know, the choices you make and how you lead your lives, you in turn influence and inspire others. Not necessarily to follow in your successes, but for them to find their best self and to live. And to look at the world as something, you know, not as something in the present, but something that they can protect for generations to come.
Well, it is you know, very easy for successful people to talk about that. It's just like asking Angelina Jolie, what is beauty? Beauty is what is inside you. I mean, she's beautiful. She can say that, you know. But I understand success. I think what we're talking about success now is really as an entrepreneur, because subject matter for us today is really fostering entrepreneurship to women, which means empowering you to have economic ability to yourself and financial independence. And that is crucial. Whether you make 1 billion or 300 million or 1 million is not the matter here. But you are now independent. You have economic power to yourself, to your family, and your community. And that is the most important sustainability that we are talking about. And I think as long as you can contribute to society, that is sustainable. Any other question?
Hello. Hi.
Yes.
My name is Norraesah. I'm from Kuching. I am in architecture consultancy practice, and also I'm in
Can't
construction
hear you
industry.
very well.
So
Can you
it's
put the
a-
mic closer to your mouth?
Yeah. So it's a male-dominated industry, construction, and so earning trust from playing with, because this is a male-dominated industry, playing with the boys. So earning their trust is a challenge. Any good advice on that?
You're talking about the construction industry? What?
In any male-dominated industry. I'll be in a
Okay,
room.
currently the whole world is dominated by men, okay? Even though we constitute half of the population. It is basically, I shouldn't be answering this, the panel.
Thank you.
Am I allowed to? Okay, I now assume the role of a speaker. We always talk about the gender gap. I think it's about time we stop talking about it, but talk about ourselves, how we can grow, what we can become, and have self-confidence and strive to succeed. The male-dominated world is cultural. It started off culturally. I don't believe that religion is the constraint. It is culture. So, culture, it takes a long while for it to change. And there is no such thing as disruptive innovation to do that. It is all the self. Okay? I think I'm in the IT industry, very male-dominated. But it's okay because of perseverance, commitment, and believing in oneself. Those are the elements that put you through to become successful. I don't look at men as men now. No, seriously. Is this all gender neutral when you are out there doing business? I think Dr. Soraya would obviously believe in that. Whoever thought of a woman doing chemical engineering in Imperial College long, long ago? But she did it, so do many of our women there. So these are changes that cannot be something that is what we call disruptive changes. It cannot come just like that and the path is changed. It does need a slow progress of change in attitude. But the only thing is, I can say that women evolve faster than men. I mean, this is not being funny, but I do think so, because we accept changes much faster than the male accepting us, that we constitute part of the change in this world. Yes, there's a...
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Isup, I'm from South Africa. Yes, men do definitely lift women up, but in retrospect, women also lift the spirits of men up in terms of men coming home and being in the company of their wives.
Right.
That's just a joke, by the way. Anyway, coming back to your question.
Be careful with what you joke, eh? Majority are women here.
No, definitely. I mean, a man's spirit is lifted in the company of women. Yes or no?
Okay.
Thank you.
But in what way?
In lots of ways.
Lifted in what way? Be specific.
In lots of ways. Lots of ways. I don't want to go into the specifics, but women know about that. Okay. Coming back to your question, the construction industry is not a male-dominated work industry. It's what you make of it. The men have to actually respect you as a woman, number one. Two, they've got to respect your intellectual input, your management input in terms of construction. However, you got to also accept that you got to earn your stripes with them, because, as you said, it's a male-dominated. I've got a slight speech problem. please bear with me. I've worked on many projects throughout the world. I've met many, many dynamic and many women leaders in the project management game. And some of them have had the actual gung-ho approach, and some of them have had the subtle approach. So it's what you make of it in a given situation in the construction industry, and you don't let the male get to you. That's it.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to respond to that as well.
How much more time do we have?
Well, we have 2.5 minutes.
Who's keeping the time?
2 minutes?
2 minutes. Okay, shoot.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good evening. I'm Dr. Khadijah Majadi. I'm a medical doctor in profession, but I'm now doing one multi-level marketing. There's actually, I want to give my opinion. I think for ladies who want to do business, there's no question of gender. Because Sayyidatina Khadijah was a very successful lady in business, and why not we follow her? So, ladies, no objection. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's a fine, almost conclusion to make. The thing is, where were we before? Okay, in conclusion, I have 1 minute 29 seconds. Where were we before? Before we started talking about contribution of women to the society, to the GDP growth. We were really invisible somewhere, but we are now very visible. Do you ever imagine a forum filled with women like the numbers that we have in front of us? Never. Before, it was just 1 or 2 of us between so many men. And I think we have come a long way. No matter what the statistics says, I think the women have achieved a lot. One thing that is most important is the fact that we are now having confidence in ourselves. We have proven our worth to the world. We do not wait for the world to recognize our worth. Don't you agree with that? I mean, the 3 ladies and all those alumni that we're going to meet in a short while, you are now my new alumni, the 3 of you. Okay? You are going to see about 50 to 60 successful women from all over the world. Rokia is there from Bangladesh. There's a lot of you in front here who has proven that with just a few days of workshop with WIEF, they have now become very successful businesswomen. They have not shaken the world yet, but they have certainly shaken their community. So I think we have to appreciate that fact about us. We don't worry whether men care about us or not. Most important is we care about ourselves. But it's good if they care about us too, right?
There's something I wanted to share.
Oh, you have 0 seconds. I think whatever you want to share, you can do so when we get together right after this session with the 60 or so women. I think I would like to really request that all of you in this hall, men and women, join us together at 6 o'clock, 6:30. Our Minister for Women and Family Development is going to be there as our special host. And okay, one last thing. Those who are here, you register your name, you get a special discount from Juice and Booze. That's a joke.
I seem to have a new CEO.
It's okay. The most important thing is we are here, we have achieved what we want, and most important is fostering entrepreneurship to those younger ones, to those who are not yet in business, to come forth and have confidence in themselves and persevere, and you will attain what you dream to attain. Thank you. You carry that to the alumni. Oh, the venue. It is there written. Azwa, WIEF?
Yes, I'm Bahagia Doctor.
Where is the venue for our
It will
alumni?
be at room 5 and 6.
Room?
On my left here, room 5 and 6.
Room 5 and 6.
Yes, for the WBN
6:30. In the meanwhile, you can exchange your cards, network with the
Okay.
men who are here as well, not just women. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, another big round of applause for our moderator and our beautiful, beautiful panelists on stage. And now may we have a group photo before we go for the WBN alumni program, which will be in a bit later. Yes, a group photo. Bahagia Dato, please, for the group photo session together with the panelists. Okay, hold on. All right. And yes, that's a wrap for the panel discussion for today, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, a very interesting topic, which is focusing on the fostering of the entrepreneurship amongst women. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, next at 6:30 will be the WBN alumni program. And will be joining us later is the Honorable Tun Musa Hitam, the chairman of WIEF Foundation, as well as our guest of honor is the Honorable Dato Sri Rohani Abdul Karim, the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development in Malaysia. That will be at 6:30 later in room 5 and 6, ladies and gentlemen. All of you are invited. Once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your participation this evening.